Welcome to FNGMAT's Ask Atul Jose series. I'm Atul Jose. Today's question is from a doctor in London. The question is, I'm a 32-year-old doctor from London with a typical 9 to 5 job. Although I can earn more by working additional hours, I've reached a career ceiling as a doctor. On the side, I have a few investments in real estate, and recently I began to read up on private equity. Would it be wise to get an MBA this year and pivot completely to a private equity career? There are 6 factors that you need to consider before switching to a private equity career. Number one, trends in private equity. As we had covered in the 2023 private equity outlook analysis at FNGMAT, this is the first year after 2 years of growth that we see a significant slowdown in the private equity industry. This after 2 years of record breaking performance in 2021 and 2022. The decline in deals and fundraising challenges were brought about by the increase in interest rate and the inflation that was only worsened by the war in Ukraine. Banks had to withdraw the funding for leveraged transaction, which is what private equity is mostly about. But you can't make such a big career decision just based on a short-term trend, not at least for 2023. You still have time to understand the industry and see how to leverage your background as a doctor. The biggest risk if you continue in the healthcare industry is that during the pandemic, healthcare was the second largest industry that PE firms served, only next to IT. The interest in the industry increased by 43% in 2021 and 47% in 2022. Unfortunately, the investment has kind of peaked a bit, but still healthcare remains an interesting industry since PE firms own close to 30% of all hospitals in the US. For the UK, the case is very different. There are regulatory hurdles that prevent PE firms from investing in companies that are offering competing services to the NHS. So you can't expect huge investments from European or UK PE firms in patient care, hospital infrastructure, or technology. That limits your opportunities if you plan to work in the UK. Typically, you need an investment banking career before transitioning into PE, but some boutique PE firms are open to accepting career switchers with no experience in investment banking. Even if you choose healthcare, which is a likely transition for you, you must pick schools with excellent curricula and peer groups to make this transition. And with an MBA, the peer group matters even more as these networks open up most opportunities. Stanford and Harvard should be your first and second choice, as over the past 3 years, 14 to 15% of their class have entered the private equity industry. Even if this percentage are mostly PE professionals going back to the industry, networking with this group matters. Number two, salary. The salary was stagnant for the longest time I could remember from 2009, but then post-pandemic, there's a big uptick in salary. Now the range is $175,000 to $200,000 for a top program with a bonus, taking it close to $250,000 or a $250,000 to $300,000 for a top MBA program, especially in private equity. When you compare that to what a consultant earns as an NHS doctor, even with other consulting opportunities, I can speculate that the salary would fall short of the post-MBA private equity compensation. Number three, intellectual stimulation. This is the biggest factor that motivates mid-career professionals to ditch safe jobs and take risks. After a certain point, the extra dollar doesn't offer a huge increment in life satisfaction. So you have to think about the career change. Unlike the satisfaction of helping a person heal or diagnosing a condition, private equity is extremely analytical. Even all the meetings and understanding the psychology of the business owner is to get the data. Once you have the sales, revenue, market opportunities, and cost constraints data, it is a quant exercise, and not many people can do that consistently or even enjoy it in the long run. So when an applicant comes to me and says, I did a course in private equity and I love the concepts, understand that the day-to-day or even the opportunities that a beginner or a person who transitioned into private equity gets will be completely different from the cool things that you read on PE. Number 4, working hours. Long hours are universal across industries. For a doctor like you, this might have been the experience initially before the 9 to 5 job, but for a management consultant, PE professional, or investment banker, this trend continues throughout their 30s, well into their mid 40s. So you should be realistic about the work it requires to change careers. If you're starting a family, the career transition could put additional strain. I would advise that you discuss this with your partner or family. Number 5, reputation. If you're planning to enter finance, how your peers see you will be completely different from the experience you are having now. The respect that you earned, you have to earn it from scratch. This could be an intimidating thought for many career switchers, so mentally prepare for that. Number 6, entrepreneurship. If you're running your own show, you should consider many factors related to your investment business before shortlisting programs or schools. Now the challenge is to balance intellectual stimulation with salary and compensation. There is a threshold. If the salary goes below it, no matter how intellectually satisfying the experience is, you will start questioning your decisions. This could be even more challenging if you are pivoting to an entrepreneurial career. I can help you think in that direction with FNGMAT's career planning service at store.fngmat.com/career-planning and help you dissect opportunities in real estate from a private equity perspective. So the bigger question is, are you willing to risk your career as a doctor for a finance career? Is there a way to pivot safely before risking 1 to 2 years with an MBA? Sometimes when you start working in a new function or industry, the initial rosy picture will start to fade. I would definitely recommend that you immerse yourself with professional groups in finance, real estate on the side. Get used to their jargon and thought process. If you're intellectually stimulated by these topics and the new peer group, that's a sign that you're ready to take the risk. I hope you have some directions to start. You can always subscribe to FNGMAT's career planning service at store.fngmat.com/career-planning. I'm Atul Jose. See you in the next Ask Atul Jose series.